Glasgow Adult Storytelling Club. So
in that case, I must introduce the program because we are on Facebook and live.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And it is Friday, so it is Stories for Children. And tonight we have none other than the amazing, the incredible, the stupendous Michael Kerins. He's some of his cold weather down here south of the border, but we'll forgive him for that. But before I go, because I have to disappear and be two people tonight, I will announce what's coming up. We have on Tuesday, as on every Tuesday, our Young International Storytellers. That's at 4 p.m. UK and Irish time. Then next Friday, we have Manuela Kelly from Italy. Marvelous, great storyteller. So another exciting. Then the week after that, we've got Juliana, who we were just talking about, from Colombia. And then the week after that will probably be Donald Nelson. So we go north of the border again. We have our worldwide story round, not this Sunday, but next Sunday week, and that's 6 o'clock. So really exciting times, fantastic stuff coming up. But right now, I'm going to hand over to Michael, who is going to regale us with amazing stories. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, John, and goodbye and good luck with your different tasks for this evening. So Happy New Year to everybody, to King Louis, to Bob, to Kathleen, and of course to our dear friends at the World Storytelling Cafe in Morocco. So as John said, my name is Michael Kerins, and I live and work as a storyteller. I'm not at home at the moment. I'm been out. But the story I'm going to tell you is a story that I first heard from Morocco from Richard Hamilton, who has it in his lovely, lovely book, The Last Storyteller. And it's the story of how deserts were made. And this is my version of Richard's story. It's just a wee tiny one to get us started. In the olden times, when the garden was just lush, and there was trees that were verdant green, there was pasture, there was calmness, there was serenity, and it was lovely because nobody told lies. Lies hadn't been, let's say, invented, discovered, made up. Everybody was honest, everybody was fair, and everything was just tickety-boo. In fact, there are those who said in those days it was tickety, 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 tickety-boo. It was so tickety-boo, it was tickety, 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 tickety-boo. And then it happened, well, the apple was eaten, the garden was emptied, and people started misbehaving. And one of the things they did to misbehave was tell lies. And God in heaven was so sad. And he didn't want to punish people for telling lies, but he wanted to give them a reward, not a good reward, a punishment reward, but he didn't want to punish them individually. And he said, you know, every time you tell a lie, I'm going to give you 1 grain of sand. And this tiny grain of sand was given to the man that told the first lie. And he had it in his hand and he looked at it. It was tiny. It was kind of roundish, but more irregular than actually roundish. And he scrutinized it. And he said to God in heaven, what am I meant to do with this? And God said, It's yours. That's your reward for the lie. So you can keep it. You can throw it away. You can give it to your mother-in-law. You can do what you like with it. It's yours. I don't want it. And the man had it, and he put it on his sideboard, and he looked at it, and he said to people, that's what I got for telling a lie. And these people didn't know what a lie was, so I don't know what that is. Well, it's when you tell something deliberately that's not the truth. It's to deceive people. It's not storytelling. It's lying. And here is a grain of sand just for you. And the people looked at the sand. One grain of sand, and everybody looked at it, and they examined it, and they scrutinized it. Some of them twirled their moustaches, some of them rubbed their chin, some of them stroked their beard. And the women came. And one of the women wanted a grain of sand. Not that one. She wanted her own one. And she said to the man who told the first lie, how would I get a grain of sand? And the man told her the truth. He said, well, I got that by telling a lie. And God in heaven gave it to me and said, every time anybody tells a lie, I'll give him a grain of sand. And she told a lie. And she got a grain of sand. And she, oh, wow. And she showed it to her friends. And her friends wanted a grain of sand. She said, oh, you can't get this. Oh, this is mine. I'm putting it here. I'm putting it up high. And I'll be the only person that knows what it is because it's so tiny. When you go, I'm going to hide it. And then soon all the people wanted lies. And bit by bit, more and more sand came, and more and more sand came, and more and more sand came. And the sand that goes from Morocco all the way across Africa was given piece by piece, grain by grain, drop by drop, for every time a lie was told. And the lie spread, and the desert spread. And the worrying thing, King Louis, the worrying thing, people are telling lies, and the deserts are growing every day. And that's my story. Hi, Janet. Good to see you. I'm going to tell you a story from Scotland now, and it's called Katie McCafferty. And Kathleen's here, and if she was here, I wouldn't call her Katie. I would call her Kathleen. But my Auntie Kathleen got called Katie. The story of Katie McCafferty. Many years ago, in the before times, there was a wonderful baker. Her name was Katie McCafferty, and she lived at the top of a hill, down the hill, crossed a little river. We would call it a burn. I don't know what you say in your country, but just a tiny stream or a brook, across this little burn, and she went to her shop. And the big key, she opened the door, and she went into the shop, and she made cakes and buns and pies. She was there early in the morning because she had to light the fires. She had to make sure that the yeast was sweating and improving or proving. And it was just everything at that time of the morning was busy, and there was nothing for sale because it hadn't been baked. But by 8 o'clock, there was fresh bread, there was rolls, there was pies, there was cakes. And that went right through till the afternoon. And then she had to clean up. She had to wash all the pots and pans, and she had to bring in coal and wood for the fire. And she went home, across this little barn and up the hill and into her bed. Well, one day, about 3 months into the new year, she got a tug on her leg, just like that. And she looked down. And it was a tiny little fairy, no bigger than something about that size, and no smaller than something about that size. In fact, you could say it was about that size. And this little fairy said, do you know what? The king wants you to come and bake a cake. There's going to be a big celebration, for he's going to have been our king for 1,000 years. And we want you to make a great celebration cake. And Katie said, oh, well, come to my shop and tell me what you want. And, you know, a cake like that will cost you maybe a gold piece, and that's quite expensive. And the fairy said, oh, we have no problem with money. We have plenty of money. What we don't have is a good baker like you. So we want you to come and bake this cake. Well, just come to the shop and buy it. Oh, no. If we come into that shop, if we cross your threshold, you'll put us in a jar, tighten the lid, and then you'll charge people a penny a look. That's what you'll do. You'll charge them a penny a look to look at a real fairy. No, I won't, she said. I will not. I'm a woman of my word and I'm a woman of honour. Come into the shop like any customer and just buy the cake. And the next thing is, Katie got pulled up in the air, turned upside down, her petticoats and her skirt came on, and her bloomers could be seen on the other side of the mountain. You're right to be shocked, Janet. I'm shocked thinking about them. She got pulled right into the earth, and there she was in this huge underground chamber, and there was fairies all over the place doing this, collecting dead leaves. There was fairies over here collecting teeth. There was fairies over there making up potions. There was fairies in this place smoking cigarettes to make the next fog. There was all kinds of stuff going on down there. And the voice said, Katie McCafferty, you should bow your head, for the king is coming. And the trumpets blew. And everybody stopped. Every fairy stopped and bowed. And Katie bowed. And the king came and said, Katie McCafferty, it's going to be my 1,000 years anniversary of being the king here, and I would like you to make a cake. And Katie said, well, yeah, I know all this, but just come to the shop and buy one for a gold piece. It's quite straightforward. No, he said, we know about you. All humans were cheats, and they'll catch us and put us in a jar and charge a penny a look. And Katie said, I won't. If you're my customer, baker's discretion, she said. Baker's discretion. No, said the king of the fairies. I'm the boss here, and I want this cake, and I want you to make it. And Katie realised that she was, thankfully, the right way up, and her petticoats covered her pants, and everything was okay again, but she wasn't happy. She said, well, okay, but you need to do things my way. And he said, well, this is the land of the fairies. You can have whatever you like. She said, well, I need some things from my own shop, and I need some things from my own house, and I don't want them from anywhere else. What difference does that make, said the king. Well, I'm regarded as the best baker around here because I have good ingredients. I use good utensils, and I want my own things to do this cake properly. 1,000 years is 1,000 years, Your Majesty. And she gave a little bow. And I'm telling you this and nobody else. She gave a little wink like this. And nobody saw it. Nobody saw the wink. So I want you to go to the shop and I want you to get a big, big porcelain bowl. There's a small porcelain bowl, there's a big porcelain bowl, and there's a big, big porcelain bowl. Get the big, big porcelain bowl. That's the one I need. A bowl's a bowl, said the king. That's the one I need, said Katie. That's why I'm the best baker, regarded as the best baker around these here parts, because I have good ingredients and I have good utensils. Oh, and I want the wooden spoon that's chipped a wee bit at the top. Top of the spoons there. There's a lot of spoons there, but that's my favourite spoon. And the king clapped his hands once, clapped his hands twice, clapped his hands thrice, and the fairies were sent up to go to the shop to get the bowl and the spoon. If you had seen that flying through the air in daylight, the shop was locked. The key was in Katie's pocket, but they get in there, well, kind of by hook or by crook, but really it was just by magic. They got in there by magic and got the bowl, the big bowl, and the spoon with a little chip off the top of the handle, got them out. And they flew them through the air, whirling and charging, whirling and charging, whirling and charging. Ah, she said, that's good. Now, I'll need eggs. You must get me all of the eggs from the brown hen at the back of the hen coop at my own place. Best eggs for 100 miles. And maybe 200. And the king said, eggs are eggs are eggs. Majesty, I'm not contradicting you. It's your palace. The reason I'm here is because I know what I'm talking about. I need these eggs, every egg that's there. But we'll need a lot more eggs as well. And just take any of the eggs that you see lying about. But the eggs from the fat brown hen, get them and keep them separate. And then she said, and don't waken the dog. Dogs and fairies don't get on. They don't. You know it in stories. Every kind of story, they don't go on. Dogs and fairies are kind of... Cats and fairies don't go on. I think it's the flying, it's the flattering. Don't waken the dog, because if you waken the dog, there'll be a hullabaloo and everybody will be there. And the fairies went there. And they were quieter than quiet mice. They were quieter than deaf and dumb mice. They were quieter as the quietest mice you can ever imagine. They were as quiet as it was ever possible to be. 17 eggs they brought back. 34 fairies. One egg between them. A wing flapping, holding. A wing holding and flapping. And a wee double convoy. They flew all the way from Katie's place. And as quiet as mice can be, they didn't waken the dog. And soon all the ingredients were brought there. This kind of flour, this kind of sieve, a big jug of milk from the blue and white striped jug. Now, there's a white and blue striped mug. Don't want that. I want this jug that's blue and white. Blue at the bottom. It's blue and white, not white and blue. Get the blue and white striped jug. They brought the wrong jug. She sent it back. And the king said, a jug is a jug. It's the same capacity. It's the same. It holds the same amount. I don't want it. I want what I want. Oh, I think it's in my house. Don't waken the dog. On you go. And the fairies flew up in the air and they flew across, and it was a big jug and it was heavy, and they had to go back for reinforcements. It's all right, Kathleen, I can't hear him. You're muted, and it's no church. So then he went to the house. And did they waken that dog? They did not. They were quiet as quiet could be. They lifted up the jug. They brought the jug to the window. They transported the jug through the window. The window didn't break. And they flew the jug, the blue and white jug, not the white and blue jug, the blue and white striped jug, all the way back to the place in the kingdom, and gave it to Katie. And she started to make up the mixture. And she wanted to know what kind of cake the king wanted. Chocolate, cherry, fruit, nuts. What kind of nuts? And every time he said what it was that he wanted, she said, okay, I can adjust that. Yeah, I've got that. I know where to get these. Yep, they're on this shelf. They're on that shelf. They're in that drawer. Bring 2 packets. And it was like she was the boss. The king was the boss. The king is the boss, but she was like the boss. And she was ordering the fairies to go and do this and do that. Go to the shop And of course, people are outside the shop looking for Katie. She's never missed a day's work. And they're hungry. They've got to be very careful flying down chimneys, going through the back door keyhole and stuff like this to get into that place. And then transporting it out through the windows or the walls, just making sure that nothing is spilled and nothing is broken and no noise is made. Especially when they're at the house, because they don't want to waken the dog. And then the mixture was ready. And she said, Your Majesty, I've got enough for an enormous 1-tier cake. I've got plenty for a 2-tier cake. There's enough here for a 3-tier cake. What kind of cake do you want? I said, well, just one gigantic cake. What's the biggest tin you've got? She said, well, that's it's a paradox, that, because the big tin is in the shop. I used it for a display a couple of Christmases ago. But the oven it fits is in my house. So we needed to go and get, if that's the kind of cake you want, a single tier, enormous diameter, we'll go and do that. And that's what they did. Off they got sent for this vast, really gigantic, it was as wide as a screen. And off they flew to get the cake tin. And she greased it and buttered it. And then she put everything in, and then she took 3 little kisses. Well done, King. And then she stirred these kisses through the cake mix. And she said, right, has to go in the oven now. Let's go. And the king said, you're staying right here. And she said, I'm putting this in the oven in my own house. And you'll have to get them up there and get that oven lit, because it needs to go into a hot oven. So please, Your Majesty, I know you're the boss and all the rest of it, but, you know, you might be in charge, but I'm the boss, or you're the boss, but I'm in charge. I don't really want to go into the diplomacy of it all, said Katie. You just need to get up there. So a few wee fairies got sent up to light the stove, put the fires underneath it, get it all ready. And then they put up little signals to say that the oven was at the right temperature. And Katie and hundreds of fairies, all the ones that were doing all the different jobs, including the smokers, they went out as well with the cake tin. It was heavy. And it needed, they were wee bendy like that, like this, flying it through the air. And the king team came too. And when Katie got there, she was right, a big strong voice like this, and she was shouting, you're waking the dog, said the king. She said, what dog? I've not got a dog. You're a liar, she said. He said, you're a liar. You see? And then he spoke to all the fairies like a preacher like this. This is the problem, my dear people. The humans tell us lies. And Katie says, I never told you any lies. You told us you had a dog. She said, I never said I had a dog. I said, don't wake the dog. Don't wake the dog, I said. Don't wake dogs. No, it's a bad idea. Fairies and dogs don't go on. Do you know what, Your Majesty? I know what you believe, she said. He said, I believe that human beings are liars. And she said, well, Your Majesty, I believe you believe what you want to believe. I never told you that there was a dog there. I am telling you, I will not betray you. Please, let me put this cake, let me get it cooked. Let me get it baked. Let me get it dressed. Let me get it in display in my shop. And then you come in the night, send your messengers and take the cake away and give me a gold coin. And they shook their hands and they made their pinky thumb promise. And do you know this? To this day, Katie McCafferty's still going up and down that hill. And down and up that hill, and she's never told anybody where the fairy kingdom is, because she doesn't tell lies. Marlon McPhee, how lovely to see you. Cool. This is a story. I wrote this story a long, long time ago, more than 40 years ago, for my beloved godchild, Alison. And her name is Julie, Alison Julie, at that time, Thompson. She's now Mrs. H. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I wrote this story for her when she was a wee girl because she wanted to be in one of my stories. So this is a story kind of about her. And I hadn't told the story for a long, long time, like maybe like 8 or 10 years. And then I was asked to tell a story about teddy bears at a teddy bears picnic. And I told this story. And afterwards, a man came up and said to me, my mother's been dead for about 15 years. And that story has put my mother's illness and passing into a perspective that I never thought was possible. So listen to this. Scotland is known for many things, but it is not known for fine weather. It's cold. We have a special word for it called dreich, which means grey and wet and damp and poor natural light. And Edinburgh, well, I'm from Glasgow, enough said about Edinburgh. This story is set in Edinburgh on a November day when it was so dank and so wet and so grey. And Alice and Julie and her mum and her wee sister were on the bus in Edinburgh. And they were going along the main street, Princes Street, when all of a sudden there was roadworks and they got diverted into a side street. It was so wet that inside the bus, it was like rainy and damp. And Julie took her sleeve and rubbed it on the window and cleaned it up and said, I don't know these shops, she said to her mum. And there, in the window of a charity shop, a second-hand shop, she saw this little teddy leaning to one side. His face was torn and he was sitting in a damp patch. Oh, Ted, she said. And she blew Ted a kiss and said, oh, Mummy, I need to get that teddy. He needs me. And more than that, I need him. Julie, we are not getting off the bus. We don't know when, we don't know where we are. This is a diversion. We're not doing that. Never mind. It'll pass. But it didn't pass. And Julie was thinking, she was actually became fractious in bed that night. She said to her daddy, who had quite a good job, and they had money to buy a teddy. He said, when he was telling her stories in bed, they said their prayers, they brushed their teeth, with a nice little regime of what you do at bedtime. And he said, well, I'll tell you a story about a bear. I don't want a story about a bear. There's a bear out there and he needs me. Tell me any story you like. And the next day, the dad went into a shop and he bought Goldilocks doll and the 3 bears to give this to Julie. And he said, there you are, Julie, this is for you, your own teddy bear. And there's 3. There's a big daddy one, there's a smaller mummy one, and there's a wee baby one, and they're just right. And Goldilocks was there as well. And Julie said, yeah, yes, Dad, this is very nice, but I need to go and get that Ted. And look what I've taken out of my money box. I've taken money, £3.87. I need to go and get that bear. He needs to be rescued. So the next day, the mother went back into town on the bus, no diversion. Back along to go home, no diversion. So they didn't know what side street they were up. So then she said to the bus driver, stop, please. I need to, there was a, do you know what street we went up yesterday or the day before, or the day before that, a couple of days ago, there was a diversion and we had to go one of the side streets. And the man said, oh, I don't know. I wasn't working that day. I just started back today. I've been on a holiday. She said, oh, well, we'll need to go and find it. It was November. It was cold. It was frosty. I can't think about that. Well, she said to the man, I'll just get off here. And she took Alison, she took Julie, and she took the little girl, and they started walking back, kind of retracing the bus steps. And each time they came to one of the side streets, they looked up. Can't be that one. Julie's mum said to her, why not? She said, well, that's one-way street the other way. The traffic's coming this way. We need traffic that's going that way, not this way. We'll be blocked there. That's the thing. And they walked 2 streets, they walked 3 streets. When they walked the 4th street, lo and behold, there was the charity shop. And it was open. And the Ted was sitting there. And she was wet and cold. And Julie had the money in her pocket. And she said to the woman in the shop, I need to get this teddy. He needs to be rescued. The woman said, it's marked at £5, but do you know what? I don't think it's worth £5. How much will it be? Said Julie. Will it be £1 million? I've got £3. That's all my money. I've got £3.87. And the woman said, well, I think it's £3.86. Here's a penny. You can keep it for your change for yourself. And that's what happened. She got the bear, and the mother was, frankly speaking, the mother was disgusted with the bear. She thought the bear is dirty, and grubby, and don't like it, don't want it. Oh no, we're not having that. And then she said, well, we'll put it in the bag and we'll take it home. And she put it in the bag and she took it home. And Julie was so happy. She just loved it. And she held the bag all the way home. And when the Ted came into the house, well, it was a different thing. The body of this kind of furry stuff that the bear is made of, lovely. Not in that bear. It was dirty and smelly and torn. And the mother said, we'll need to try and get some of this fabric. And look, he's missing an eye. And look, his mouth is all sore. And look, his stomach is emptying. We need to get this bear. Before you can play with him, before you can put him on display, before you can do anything with his bear, we need to get it fixed. And the first thing they did was sew up all these holes and wash it in the washing machine. And when I was going round in the washing machine, going round in the washing machine, Julie was watching this and she got an upset tum. And her tummy was, oh, 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 oh. Her tum was upset. It was horrible and everything. But when that stopped, well, that was quite good. She said, oh, that's good. I feel a lot better now that stopped. And in the afternoon, the bear got pegged outside on the line to dry. Julie got sore ears watching this. Oh, my ears are sore watching this. Oh, mum, that's so cruel. But there in the sun, the bear dried. And then they went to the doll hospital to get the little eye repaired. And they take the eye and they match it exactly with the other one. Whatever colour, whatever size, whatever shape the eye is that's there, they have got tens of thousands of these. And they're all stored in categories of size and shape and colour and shade. Just like diamonds, 4 C's. Cut, clarity, colour and carat. Same for the eyes. And she got the eye, and when the eye was going in, as bad luck would have it, Julie got a sty in her eye, and her eye was sore, and she got a patch on it. And the mum put a little clamp over this eye to make sure that the Ted's eye would stay in place. And it worked. And then she started to repair the mouth, and Julie got a little cold sore there. And her mouth was so tender. But then as the mother started to sew, she sewed a smile, a big giant, a smile as wide as your face can be a smile of smiles. Oh, I'm smitten with this bear, the smiliest smittenest bear there's ever been. Oh, mum, I love it, I love it, I love it. And the mum looked at this bear, and they couldn't get enough of the brown fabric to repair the stomach and all this kind of stuff. And the stuffing was coming out of it. So the day that Julie was at one of her friends' birthday parties, she stuffed herself with cakes and sandwiches and marshmallows and sweets and treats. And at home, the mother was stuffing the bear. And the bear got chunkier and chunkier and chunkier and chunkier and chunkier and chunkier and chunkier. And then she started to sew. She got some of the material from the bear, and she started to sew it and make it just right until it was absolutely repaired. And then when everything was all sorted, just across the chest here, it ripped. And there was none of the brown material left, not even 1 inch of it left. What will we do? What will we do? And she was brokenhearted. She was absolutely brokenhearted. And just like Janet's curtains, red curtains there was red velvet in the sewing box. And it was just a little piece. And as the mother sewed it, it went down and up and round. And she sewed a little heart. And Julie's Teddy took heart and gave heart, and took love and gave love. And you know what? Although this story's 40 years old, she's still got that Teddy. I don't know how old the Teddy is, but it was in a mess when we got it at first. Many years ago, I was introduced to Telebration by J.G. Pinkerton, who set it up. And I was going to be traveling on the day of Telebration back from South Africa. And I think I'm on record with the NSM and NSN in America for having celebrated at the highest level, 38,000 feet above the Kalahari Desert, on a South African Airways flight from Johannesburg to London. And I told this story there. And it's a story. The reason I'm telling you this, the person who gave me the story to tell was JG. Once there was a little boy, probably about King Louis's age, and he had wonky eyes. He couldn't see. And his eyesight in his childhood was never good. And as he got older, but still a child, he was virtually blind. He couldn't see very much at all. So when they were playing in the yard, the other boys were playing games that needed sight. But if they needed a decision, they would go to this guy, for he was pretty good at judging and giving opinion. So it happened that he was in the yard one day when, and the yard is just situated across the road from 2 particular shops that were divided by a wooden wall. On one side, there was a pharmacy, and on the other side, there was a baker's. The pharmacist, well, he just came there at 9 o'clock in the morning, opened the door, put up the little snib on the door, turned the closed sign to open, and waited. And people would come in and say, I've got a headache, I've got a toothache, I've been stung by a bee, my belly's sore, my bottom is sore, I've got sore feet. But when they left and they came back, they were happy. Oh, my headache's gone, my hangover's gone, my toothache's gone. Look at me, I can walk and skip and run. On the other side of the wall, there was nothing like that. The baker was up early in the morning, as you know, from Katie. They've got to prepare the ovens, they've got to light the fires, they've got to set and improve the yeast, they've got to make pastry, they've got to clean shelves, they've got to do all this kind of stuff. And it's a hard job and a hard day's work before the first customer comes. But at night, it's 5 o'clock. The pharmacist turns the sign from open to close, changes the lock on the door, goes out, locks the door, and goes home. But he doesn't do that every night. And more, he's staying late. And as he's staying later and later and later and later, the baker starts to get curious. And he doesn't know what's going on. What's going on was straightforward. Inside the back shop of the pharmacy, the pharmacist was a miser there. And inside the back shop, he had a little desk. And he opened the desk drawer, took out a little purse, and there he counted out 28 gold coins. They were all his best friends. Everybody that was there was his best friend. These tiny little coins. There was coins from Egypt, coins from ancient Greece, a round coin with a square hole in it from China, like from the old adding machines. There was coins and coins and coins. There was a coin from France, from a boy king. And then the same king, 70 years later, as an old grandpa, he was there as well, one of the Louis, just like our King Louis. And all of these, there was coins there with Latin writing in it from Rome, with one of the popes on it. There was coins from Russia, coins from the United States, gold dollars, all the Susan B. Anthony thing. It was all kinds of these special coins that were just loved by this man. And he brought them out and he told their story to the other guests. Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary, Queen of Scots in my country was also the Queen of France. And he told that story of that coin to all the coins that were there as friends. And then he gathered the coins and put them all back in the bag and shut. And that was that. But on the other side of the wall, the baker was curious. I mean, really curious. What's going on? He thought, what's all going on here? And what was going on was a very interesting thing. And he had to find out what it was. So he got a little corkscrew and he put it against the wall like that. And he poured a hole like this until he could see in it. And once he could see in there, and he heard these stories of these wonderful coins of the Queen of France being the Queen of Scotland and vice versa, the same person, of the Pope from Rome, of the ancient Roman and Greek heroes, the Chinese coin with the square hole, all of these things are there. And that baker wanted them. I don't mean he wanted them. I mean, he absolutely wanted them. He needed them and he would have them. I'll have these coins. Now, he's a big man and he can just go and kick the door in. That's easy. But it's also obvious. So he had to concoct a story. And he concocted the story of running out of the shop one day, and across the yard was a little blind boy, and all the other boys were playing football. And the little blind boy was just sitting there when he heard the baker shouting, "Help, help, I've been robbed, I've been robbed. Help, help, I've been robbed, I've been robbed. Help, help." And the policeman came round and the policeman said, "What's going on here?" And the pharmacist looked out of the window, opened his door, stuck his head right out, closed the door, went back about his business. And then this liar, this man who is an actual liar, told the policeman lies. "I've got 28 gold coins. They're all kinds from all kinds of countries. Some of them are legal currency. Some of them are just historical collector's pieces. They're all mine, and somebody stole them." "Is there a broken window? Has the door been kicked in?" asked the policeman. "No, no, no," he said. "But come and I'll show you this." And he took him into the back shop. And there, with that wooden wall, he saw a bored hole. And he said, "Now look at that. Somebody's been spying on me." And I'm not saying who it is, but he pointed with his elbow. "I'm not saying who it is, but there's been spying going on here, officer. And I'm 28 gold coins short. What do you think of that?" So out he went and he had this conversation and he said, "Well, that's the thing. I don't understand that and I don't get it." Just a minute. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Nothing at all. Well, that was a very difficult thing to have. Nobody could understand it. The policeman said, "Well, then, do you know who this is? Do you know what it is?" He said, "No, I have no idea." No, you don't need to go back up. You don't. So that happened that was going to be the situation. So what can we do? A liar is telling a lie, and he said, "Well, I'll go and ask next door." And he went through to ask in the very next door. And the pharmacist is an honest man. And he told the truth. "These are my coins. I know them. That's Mary Queen of Scots. That's the Emperor of Rome. That's the Pope of Rome. That's the Ivan the Terrible. That's King Louis, and that's King Louis. That's the same person. He's a wee boy there, and he's an old grandpa there. This is a coin from China." And he told the story of this is Susan B. Anthony from America. He told the story of these 28 gold coins. You believe that? And everything was there. An honest man is telling a lie, and an honest man is telling the truth, and a liar is telling a lie. What do you do? So the policeman said, "I'll need to go to the court." And I went to court, and there in front of the big judge, the liar maintained his lies, the honest man maintained the truth, and nobody was satisfied. And the judge said, "Do you know what?" And he was there and he was pompous and he had his wig on like this. And he said, blah, 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 blah. This is the way judges, blah, 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 notwithstanding and furthermore. And they needed a rest. And he said, "I need to go and get this. I need to get some lunch." And he went outside. And he saw the children playing. And the blind boy was there. And he said to him, "Why are you involved in this game or not involved in it?" He said, "Well, they asked me for judgments. But I can't really see. I just have to go with other evidence." So the judge gave him his problem. And he said, "Oh, that's easy. I'll do that for you." And he told the judge the answer. And the judge said, "Will you come to my court and do that?" He said, "I surely will." And he went to the court, and the judge said, what I want you to do is exactly what this man asks you to do. No more and no less. But where is the man? This boy, he's the man? Yes, said the judge. He has the wisdom of Solomon. And the boy said, or the boy said, give us 4 containers of water, 4 vessels, 1 cold, 1 hot, one warm, 1 hot, and 1 boiling. And the coins were put into bundles of 7, and he scattered them in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into the cold, into the warm, into the hot, into the boiling water. And he stood back. And suddenly, the court was filled with all the wonderful smells of an old pharmacy shop, tinctures of lemon and eucalyptus, garlics. And they went to look. And even with his broken eyes, he could see there was no flour or oil there. There was nothing there. But the court was filled with the aromas and smells, the wonderful, wonderful pharmacy shops. And he said, these coins have been embraced and rubbed by this man for many, many years. I don't know who, I can't see. I don't know who's the pharmacist. I don't know who's the pharmacist. I don't know who's the baker. But you know what? You don't need to see to know the truth. Evidence is there. You don't always have to look for it. Sometimes it comes up and hits you on the nose. So that's my story. I think you guys have guessed I'm not at home. So I'm going to wind up now because the Storytelling Club is coming into this venue in 10 minutes and they're going to want to tell their own stories. I hope you enjoyed this evening. Thank you to John Rowe for opening the session. Thank you for Despina for co-hosting. Thank you for Kathleen, Marlon, Janet. Thank you for King Louis. Thank you to Bob. And most importantly, thank you to the World Storytelling Cafe, who've been keeping this going for years. If you've enjoyed...
Thank you, Michael. It was a wonderful, wonderful set of stories.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Bob. If you've enjoyed this, my name is Michael Kerins. If you haven't enjoyed it, my name is Rishi Sunak. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Despina.
Bye.
Bye.
Michael?
Yeah.
Can I ask for your permission to share your story with my friends here, the group with people with vision problems?
Well, you missed the beginning of the story. It's not my story.
I did not. I didn't miss it.
Right.
Still,
so
it's your version of the story, so...
Yeah. Or if you want, I'll come live and tell them it and you can translate it into Greek.
Oh, that would be wonderful, but I'm afraid we're going to meet earlier than your visit.
No, we'll meet on Zoom.
It's people who live on my island with vision issues.
Yeah, we can meet on Zoom. Sure, but yeah, you can tell them and I can come and tell them as well. I'm interested in it because my parents were visually impaired.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Great.
Yeah, but sure, tell it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Bob.
Bye.
Bye, Louis.
Bye,
Bye, Janet.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Janet. Bye.